Lewis Hamilton was livid on the team radio. And no, this time it wasn't just about the sluggish SF-25 struggling to keep pace. This ran much deeper. This was personal. Political. It was about Charles. Midway through the Miami Grand Prix, a shocking team radio message was broadcast that blindsided fans, commentators, and even the pit wall. Ferrari had issued a direct order. Hamilton was to surrender position to his teammate. Both drivers were on nearly identical strategies, yet only one was being asked to step aside. The fallout? A glacial silence from Lewis, so sharp it could cut glass, followed by a voice so tense, every syllable dripped with disbelief and frustration. This wasn't racing. It was betrayal. For a seven-time world champion who joined Ferrari with dreams of conquering new podiums, not playing second fiddle, the implications were devastatingly clear. The trust between Hamilton and Ferrari's strategists is now visibly cracking. With the full radio transmission leaked, fans around the globe can now witness the moment unravel in real time. The hesitation. The disbelief. The slow-burning realization that something was off, not just with the strategy, but with the entire structure of the team's racing philosophy. Hamilton wasn't just protesting a tactical call, he was questioning Ferrari's core values. And what followed on track only poured fuel on the fire. Left without a proper chance to fight back, Hamilton finished the race behind in a car that had robbed him of any real shot at redemption. His post-race silence? Deafening. It echoed louder than any PR statement or team-issued explanation. Ferrari might have hoped to sweep the situation under the rug, but that illusion shattered the moment the public heard the unfiltered radio call. Before we dive into the full fallout of this drama, and what it means for Hamilton's increasingly fragile alliance with Leclerc and the Scuderia, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay with us to the end. Because what just happened in Miami isn't just another controversy over team orders. It might be the spark that ignites a full-blown inferno, and possibly the turning point that decides whether Hamilton's future at Ferrari survives the season. Lewis Hamilton wasn't simply disappointed. He wasn't just baffled. He was furious, truly, unmistakably furious. And the entire paddock heard it. That radio message didn't just highlight a strategic blunder. It exposed a deep fracture forming within Ferrari's race management structure, and, more worryingly, within the driver dynamic itself. At the heart of it was a call that allowed Charles Leclerc to move past Hamilton during the closing laps of the race, a call that came despite Lewis having track position, fresher tires, and arguably more pace. So when the instruction came to yield, Hamilton's voice was icy and resolute. "Are you sure? After everything today?" That wasn't a question. It was a direct accusation aimed squarely at the Ferrari pit wall. And the implications may echo well beyond Miami. The Miami Grand Prix was supposed to be yet another shot for Ferrari to chip away at the gap separating them from McLaren and Mercedes. On paper, it looked promising. But the moment the lights went out, reality struck hard. The SF-25 was once again stumbling, struggling with tire degradation, lacking straight-line speed, and showing an all-too-familiar inconsistency. Hamilton, starting from further down the grid, made the most of a cleaner launch and sharper judgment through the opening corners, overtaking cars with clinical precision. For a brief moment, things looked different. Controlled. Calculated. But that calm evaporated when the pit stop window opened. Here's where the Real storm broke. Hamilton stayed out longer, pushing his tires to the edge of their life while Leclerc boxed earlier, opting for the undercut. When the dust settled post-stops, Hamilton emerged ahead, albeit on worn tires. With the race winding down, the Ferrari engineers began to spot a shift, a trend they didn't like. Then came the call. One sentence that reignited the fire: "Let Charles through." Hamilton's reaction wasn't just irritation. It was a thunderclap of betrayal. That now infamous radio message, delivered with a tone cold enough to freeze steel, said it all. This wasn't about strategy anymore. This was about respect, about hierarchy, about trust. For Lewis, who had executed his strategy with surgical precision, protected his position on merit, and asked for nothing but fairness, it felt like a slap in the face. Once again, strategic decisions had let him down. And what's more troubling? The creeping sense that, whether justified or not, team priorities are starting to tilt, subtly, consistently, against him. After the race, Hamilton's body language said everything his polished media responses didn't. No smiles. No warm paddock exchanges. Just the tight jaw of a man processing betrayal. In interviews, he remained composed, professional, yes, but the weight behind his words couldn't be missed. He mentioned tough decisions and the need to review not just the race, but the way we reach decisions. When asked directly about the team order, Hamilton didn't throw Ferrari under the bus, but he didn't defend them either. The void where a confident answer should have been? That was the real quote. Leclerc, for his part, didn't look particularly comfortable either. He acknowledged he was quicker at that moment, but added, "We'll discuss it internally." That wasn't diplomacy. That was a signal. A signal that everyone involved knows the situation is walking a very fine line. And the cruelest irony of all? The order didn't even change the final outcome. Leclerc finished 7th. Hamilton came home 8th. Both were adrift of the McLarens, the Red Bulls, and even George Russell's Mercedes. No extra points. No podium. Just a team dynamic that now feels a little more fractured than before. This isn't the first time Hamilton has been left frustrated by Ferrari's calls this year. From poor tire selections, unstable balance setups, botched starts, and now the politics of team orders, mistakes are stacking up. And the moment those mistakes start chipping away at a driver's faith in the system, you're in dangerous waters. For someone like Lewis, who left Mercedes not to coast but to launch one last assault on the championship, this sort of internal conflict is the last thing he needs. And for Ferrari, who brought him on board to galvanize the team, not splinter it, this tension is becoming a flashing red light. What happens next won't just shape the next race. It could redefine the entire trajectory of Ferrari's 2025 campaign, and perhaps even seal the fate of this high-stakes Hamilton experiment. Because this is no longer just about one controversial team radio message or a questionable tactical call that fades by the next race report. This is about erosion, of faith, of priorities, and of a partnership barely 5 races old that already seems to be showing hairline fractures. Inside the garage, the engineers and staff know the truth. These kinds of tensions don't vanish with a handshake or a photo op on Instagram. If Hamilton starts believing that team orders are becoming a pattern, one that sidelines him regardless of his performance, the psychological fallout could be massive. Not just in how he drives, but in how he communicates, in how he shares his data, in how deeply he commits to a long-term project that, at this point, feels more fragile than ever. And it's not just about Hamilton anymore. Charles Leclerc now finds himself in an equally delicate position. Benefiting from a controversial call in the heat of battle can be a double-edged sword. What looks like a win today might come back to haunt him if the roles are reversed and Ferrari hesitates to repay the favor. Drivers have long memories. Fans, too. And in a sport as politically charged as Formula One, even the perception of favoritism, whether grounded in truth or not, can act like poison, slowly corroding a team from within. From a pure performance standpoint, Ferrari simply can't afford this kind of internal fracture. McLaren is already pulling ahead in terms of development. They're no longer a persistent threat to Red Bull, and now the team's most high-profile signing, a 7-time world champion, is publicly casting doubt on the decision-making structure around him. If this dynamic isn't addressed swiftly and transparently, the damage may go far beyond a missed podium or a lost strategic gamble. Ferrari risks losing the very thing they invested in when they brought Hamilton on board: leadership, experience, and the aura of championship pedigree. But solving this isn't just a matter of software updates, better tire degradation, or quicker lap times. It's about cohesion, honesty, creating an ecosystem where both Hamilton and Leclerc feel empowered to fight tooth and nail, but also trust that when compromise is needed, the team has their backs, not an agenda. Because if Ferrari alienates either of them, whether through internal politics or unchecked frustration, the price will be far greater than one swapped position on a Sunday afternoon. The cost will be long-term unity, driver morale, and perhaps the credibility of this entire Hamilton-Ferrari experiment. So now we watch. We wait. And above all, we listen, especially to the team radio, because that's often where the real story leaks out. And if Miami was just a glimpse of what's to come, then this season won't be defined by raw pace, but by pressure. And how Ferrari chooses to handle it, or fails to. Let us know in the comments. Was this just a case of miscommunication? Or are we witnessing the early signs of a deeper power struggle within Maranello? Should Ferrari have backed Hamilton and let him race freely? Or was this a necessary tactical move for the sake of the team? Hit the like button if you think this drama is just getting started. Subscribe for more behind-the-scenes insights into the F1 circus, and don't go anywhere. Because in Maranello, the storm isn't over. It's only beginning to rumble.